Hey everyone, I am here attempting to do my birth story. I am doing a little rucksack carry with my newborn who is, what is today? Thursday? So that would make him 12 days old. Tomorrow he'll be 13 days. So almost 2 weeks old. I like the back carry because I could feel him breathing on my neck. His neck is supported and I can do things with his sister who is almost 2, who runs around everywhere and gets into everything. So this is a nice option for 2 under 2. She'll be 2 at the end of next month, which is good. So anyway, so what I wanted to talk about is, uh-oh, my little guy's hungry. Are you hungry? You just ate. Here, you want your binky? Here, uh-oh. Can I reach you? There we go. So anyhow, I wanted to talk a bit about my home birth experience and how that all went. Just give me a second there. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Come on. You gotta be flexible. Okay. Got that binky in. Anyhow, so, first of all, I was 1 week and 1 day late when I delivered my son. And, I don't know if it's just me, but because I've gone through a lot of loss, pregnancy-wise, it was very scary for me to still be pregnant that late. And a lot of people are like, oh, just let your baby come naturally, you know, he'll come when he's ready. That's great, except for the fact that I was terrified. At a couple of irrational thoughts that he was going to be a stillborn or something bad was going to happen, and just really freaking myself out. So, anyway, I did a study called Hypnobabies, which really helped, and I had to listen to my fear-clearing track several times throughout the whole journey, just because I'm terrified to give birth of what if something goes wrong. And so that study really helped me just overcome a lot of fear, and that doesn't mean I was completely fear-free during the pregnancy, but during the birth I was, which I was very grateful for it. Part of it was my contractions were coming so fast that I just didn't have time to be fearful, I guess. Anyhow, so I'm sleeping. So anyhow, I took these pills that my midwife recommended, and I forget what they're exactly called. I'll put it in a link below. If I don't, remind me, because I forget things very easily. Anyhow, they're like castor oil, but it's a homeopathic version of it. So what it was is I had to take 3 pills under my tongue every 30 minutes. Okay, honey, I'm busy right now. Okay, I'll check it out. Go do the rest of your schoolwork. Get it started on the computer. So I had to do 3 pills under my tongue every 30 minutes, just 3 times, and then I just waited. But I had to wait until I had like contractions. I had been having contractions for about 6 weeks. They would last about an hour, and they were like 5 minutes apart, sometimes 10 minutes apart. It was very, very annoying that, I would have contractions, and I was trying not to get excited because then they would stop up. So anyway, my midwife gave me those pills, and I took those. I made curry. I had dates. I put basil, a whole bunch of basil on my rice, a whole bunch of basil on my curry, and I ate dates. What else did I eat? Nothing else that helped. Then I did nipple stimulation. Sorry for the too much information, but that's what happened. I also had sex because, if you have the big O and you have the semen, it'll soften the cervix. And then I had super primrose pills, and instead of putting 1, I decided to put 3 because I was like, no, this baby needs to come out, so we're gonna make sure everything's softened, because I have a tendency for my cervix not to ripen until the last minute, making my labors 52 hours or almost 20 hours. So that's how it was with my first and second child. So I was like, no, my prayer was that my whole labor and delivery for active labor would be under 8 hours. My secret wish was that it was going to be 5 hours, but I didn't know if I could actually accomplish that. So yeah. But another thing on the track, sorry, look how cute this little sleeping baby is. So cute. another thing that was really helpful with the Hypnobabies, the most helpful for me was definitely visualization. So I have like is it called an Etch-a-Sketch or Magnadoodle? Yeah, Magnadoodle. And I drew what 8 centimeters looked like, and I put it down on my bathroom floor. So every time I went to the bathroom, which was like 29 times a day, I would look at what 8 centimeters looked like and put an 8 in the center. And then I would just visualize when it came time for me to give birth. And when I finally decided I wanted to be checked, I needed to be at 8 centimeters, because then I knew I could make it, make it past that point. With my daughter, oops, stepped on my scale. With my daughter, with my daughter, I went into labor and my contractions were 1 minute apart. They were very, very strong, very consistent. And I thought for sure I'd be like, ready to push out. And then when they checked me, they said I was 1 centimeter dilated. I almost died because I was like, are you for real? Like, she needs to be ready to come out. And she wasn't. So that was a whole nother story. Anyhow, so visualization is key. Just fear clearing. If you have fear about giving birth, whether it's your first birth or you've had traumatic experiences in life, whether they're birth related or not, Hypnobabies is very good, just to keep you mentally sound and prepared, because really, if you can get your mind right, your body will follow. So it was very important to me and very, very helpful. Careful, baby. Hi, baby. Come here. Go listen to your songs. Yeah. Where is it? Did I hide it from you? Where'd it go? I don't know. Alright, go sit down. Go on. Sorry, guys. Okay, so the day I went into labor, I woke up, I was having light contractions, and as requested by my midwife, I was to put 3 of those little pills underneath my tongue. They taste like sugar. 3 times. So I did it the first time, and then contractions really started picking up. So I was like, yes. Then I did it the second time, and I felt like the contractions were strong enough that I didn't want to take it a third time because I was scared like it was going to make it super crazy strong. So I was like, no, I'm not about that life. So I decided not to do that and just did it the 2 times, and I relaxed and I got some cleaning done around the house. The only thing is that my contractions, although they weren't very painful, they were about 2 minutes apart, and my midwife said to call her if they're 5 minutes apart or less. And I'm like, well, I have a track record of my contractions just being close together and making it to where I can't really breathe. So I called her and I let her know, and she asked if I wanted her to come, and I was like, I don't really know. I think everything's fine. That was around probably 2 p.m. She showed up around, 3:30. She's a little bit away from me. And everything was fine. I was just going through the contractions. They were getting a little heavier and, not really painful. They were just intense. Like, I could feel a lot of pressure, which I was very excited, smiling. I'm like, yes, this baby's coming today. I'm 1 week and 1 day late, and I can still have my home birth. I was terrified that I was going to have him in the hospital, because I think at 42 weeks and 2 days, my midwife cannot do home birth anymore, which we paid out of pocket because we're military and our insurance didn't cover anything, which was totally crappy. Go on, Talia. Oh my gosh, Talia. Get out of that box. Sorry. So, anyhow, where was I? Contractions. Okay, so 3 p.m., 3:30 p.m. So I would say a few hours later, around 6 p.m., they started getting very real. At that point, I was like, okay, this is very real labor. It's not going to stop. It's getting very, very intense. So I did a lot of walking around. At one point, I sat on the toilet and I asked my husband to get me a glass of water, and instead of drinking it, I poured it over my whole entire body. About 4 or 5 times I had him keep filling up water, and he was like, that's different. And I was like, no, whatever, I'm hot and I'm about to cool it off. So that's just what helped me. I don't know why. Whatever, cold water made me feel great, so that's what I did. Supplements that I used, as I will put those below, I took some vitamin C, which I think is like 13 milligrams, and I tried to do it every hour to make sure I stayed hydrated. It also helped so that I wouldn't bleed out. I really don't have a tendency to bleed very much during my deliveries or after, but each pregnancy is different, and because I wasn't at a hospital or actually a birthing center like my previous births, I just wanted to make sure everything was good in that department. So I did that. I also use clary sage, which I love, and if I ever give birth again, I will definitely use it. It is a muscle relaxant, and I have a sway back, so it is very, very painful when I have contractions. If you look at my birthing video, they were pretty much massaging my back the entire time. Between my husband and my doula, they would take turns. Also with my midwife and my birthing assistant, they would also take turns because people were getting tired out of massaging my back. I ended up having a really bad bruise on my back. So anyhow, 6 o'clock, by about 9 o'clock, I was kind of done. I was like, ooh, let's see how many centimeters I am. If I told them, I was like, if you guys say I'm 3 centimeters, get the hell out of my house and go home. Like, I was partially joking, but at the same time, I was like, no, I better not be 3 centimeters. Like, I better be 8, like I want. So they measured me, and nobody knew that my goal was 8 centimeters or anything like that. They measured me, and she was like, you're about 7.5, probably more like 8. And I was like, okay, I can deal with that. And I was like, I just need to have this baby before midnight. I would like him born on the 5th, only because it's closer than the 6th. That was really it. I didn't really have any other reason. I don't have any special connections with 5. I didn't care. I just didn't want to be pregnant any longer. And I was, getting to that point where I was getting tired. The Hypnobabies definitely helped me stay focused. My doula is a Hypnobabies doula, so she was really good about keeping me on track and having me look in her eyes and just being very helpful to keep me from freaking out. So I would say the last hour, so previous to that, my contractions are probably like a minute to 45 seconds apart, which sucks, but I was able to handle it and breathe through it just fine. And the thing is the last hour, they just continued to linger, so just kind of blowing out air just didn't really help. I wanted to lay down at that point. Only one time I thought I want to go to the hospital and I can't do this. And then I was like, no, you know what, I got this. I'm so close. I'm already past 8 centimeters. I have had to progress because I feel so much pressure. My water hadn't broken. I wasn't sure if I was going to deliver in the pool, the birthing pool, because I had changed my mind so many times and gone in so many different positions. And anyhow, so they wanted me to squat, like do Captain Morgan like this, and like squat to try to help get the baby out. And I was so exhausted, and it hurt really bad. So I was like, I don't really want to do that. And my husband's like, come on, honey, listen to the midwives, listen to the doula. And I'm like, shh, be quiet. That's all I said to him. And he was like, oh, okay. So he just was quiet. And I tried it a couple of times when I felt a little burst of energy, but my contractions were 15 seconds apart at that point. So there just wasn't time for me to catch my breath. I just really couldn't breathe very much. So anyhow, about the last 10 minutes or so, I felt like it was time for me to get in the birthing pool. So they got the water all ready and heated up. Oh, bless you. And so I got in, and well, actually it took me a few minutes to get in because like I said, it was hard for me to catch my breath. So once I got in, I think it was like 8 minutes before delivery. So I finally got in, sat down, got a little comfortable. Once I got comfortable, I felt, ooh, careful. Yes, that's what happened, huh? No, that's his binky. He needs it. I don't know where yours is. We'll find it though, okay? Don't trip out. It's all good. We got this. We'll find it. Okay? Don't worry. Give me some. You don't want to? Alright, my battery died, so anyway, so I got into the water, and yeah, so I got into the water. I was relaxed. My husband was checking on the kids at that time, and my water broke, and it just went poosh. And so I was like, Travis, get in here. So he ran in there, and the midwife was like, do you want to get in the water? And he's like, yeah. He didn't really actually want to get in, but he did. So he got in the water, and as soon as he got in, this is going to get a little graphic. I released my bowels. I just went boop, little turd crumbles floated around in the water. Not too much, just a little bit. And then I felt his head crowning, and I was like, oh, his head is crowning. And it was so nice that I didn't have my water broken this time, and my body was able to just spontaneously push him out, which is what I wanted. With my other children, I pushed 2.5 hours with my oldest, and 45 minutes or longer with my daughter. So part of his head came out in 2 pushes. So all of his head came out in 2 pushes, and then the rest of his body in about 2 or 3 more pushes, and he was out. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I didn't have to push for 9,000 years. I used to be so jealous of people that would say, I pushed my baby out 3 times. And I'm like, that's cool. Congratulations on your amazing vagina. So anyhow, I was able to push him out in a short amount of time and experience that, and it was very empowering. Of course, no drugs, because I didn't have the option to do that at home. With my oldest son, I didn't have drugs. With my daughter, I did, but the epidural didn't work. So as far as having an epidural and not having it, recovery time of not having an epidural is better. The simple fact that didn't work, and I just had all these medications in my body, it just isn't really worth it. And yes, sometimes epidurals don't work, so make sure you have a plan of that happening, because it was terrible. So anyway, guys, that was pretty much my birth story. Everything went well. I weighed 170 at the time of delivery, and right now I'm like at 150, 149, so I got about 9 pounds left, and I am at my pre-pregnancy weight, so boom. That's it. But anyway, thanks for watching. Alright, bye. Okay, maybe